Marvel's going to be kicking off their cinematic universe yet again on July 9th with Black Widow. But we've been lucky enough to get a few shows on Disney Plus, their new form of storytelling on Disney Plus, with WandaVision, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now with Loki. And I want to talk about Loki. I want to do a quick Loki review for episode 1. Now, if you've watched the show and you've heard me talk, I've been looking forward to this show since it was announced. I thought out of the 3 first shows that they were doing and putting out, I felt that Loki was going to be the one that was the most interesting, the one that was really the most fun, I should say. But that's in large part due to Tom Hiddleston. His portrayal of Loki in the MCU has been phenomenal. And when he died, spoilers, in Infinity War, it was one of those deaths that hit you, and you're just kind of like, man, I like that character. I didn't want to see him die. So the fact that they're bringing him back for more adventures within the MCU is fantastic. Now, episode 1, I watched it, and it was great. A lot of people, you'll see a lot of people saying on Twitter, on social media, other reviews, that it starts off slow, that there's not much action, there's not much that's too interesting in it. And I completely disagree. I don't know what people are watching, because when you think of Loki, you don't think of big action sequences. You don't think of the fighting and everything that's happened in the MCU. What you think about, what you picture, is a lot of dialogue. He is the god of mischief. That is who Loki is, and that is how he has been portrayed in the MCU the entire time, is just utilizing his words and being able to just trick people and making people believe different things. And that's who he is. So going into this show, I knew going into this show that it wasn't going to be action heavy. It was going to be dialogue heavy, with a lot of interesting takes on what's going on in the MCU. The fact that they brought in the time variant, time variant association or whatever it is, the fact that they brought that in just was like, okay, this is going to be interesting, because they have the ability now to travel around the entire MCU timeline, not just the main timeline, but other timelines that we have no idea exist. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Spoilers, if you haven't watched Loki episode 1, we get into some spoilers here. So please, if you don't want to be spoiled, you just turn off the sound for maybe a couple minutes here. But one of the coolest parts in this episode was when he's trying to find the Tesseract, trying to find different things like, and how to escape being imprisoned by the TVA. He opens up a drawer. There's a drawer that's opened up, and there's just a pile of Infinity Stones. Not just 1 or 2 of them, but all of the different Infinity Stones, just a pile of them from all the different timelines that have ever existed. That basically meaning it what we know, we've watched the Infinity Saga, the Infinity Gauntlet saga that spanned 11 years, 12 years. We watched that all transpire. The most important thing, the thing that everybody always talked about, when's the next Infinity Stone going to show up? When are they going to all become put together? When are they going to be used? And then it was this big cataclysmic event that took place with these Infinity Stones. In one episode of Loki, they're just like, yeah, those Infinity Stones, they're nothing. They don't mean... What is Marvel doing? What are they getting us into? What is coming up that obviously they're trying to say, look, the Infinity Stones, we knew they were big, but at this point, there's something more. So get rid of the idea and the notion that those Infinity Stones are anything important at this point. I thought that was amazing. I loved it. The fact that the character's just like, oh, those things? Yeah, some people just use them as paperweights. That's how many there are just laying around here. It's incredible that they would just do something like that. So, and to see Loki, who for so many years, he was after the Tesseract or the Mind Stone, whatever it was, he was after something in regards to the Infinity Stones. He just seemed defeated. He's just like, really? Like, and it was great. It was a great moment in the show. Owen Wilson was phenomenal. He is going to probably be, obviously Tom Hiddleston's Loki is going to be my favorite character because it's about him and he's a great actor and a great character. But I think Owen Wilson's character is going to really standout in this show. So I hope that they do have plans for more with him, because even in this one episode, the way that he and Loki play off of each other is just phenomenal, and I can't wait to see more of that. Another really interesting aspect, the whole idea that Loki cannot return to the variant in which he came. So they cannot. So we know that he came during Endgame when they went back in time and he picked up the Tesseract and disappeared. That right there is the variant. That is the issue in the time. That's why the TVA is involved. But they say they cannot return him back to that point in time. So it's either that or he can't. So he's to be killed, which is incredible. So, which means because they're deciding at this point in time, at least not to kill him, that there's going to be, he could just do anything. He can pop up anywhere within the MCU at any time, but then pop right back out. So he could just pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. I don't know. That to me, I think is a really cool idea and great take on this character, because I think it's going to really benefit what the MCU is doing. The idea that there's these timekeepers, these people or these beings that approve of what happens in the timeline, what happens. They know the past, the present, the future. They know all of it. I want to know how that's going to play out in the MCU, because we do know that, we have the Celestials, we have the Eternals coming out. Is there going to be some kind of connection with all of that? Because we know that the Celestials and the Eternals and stuff like that, they're higher beings. They have the capabilities and the know all of everything in a way. And we know Thanos, who was incredibly strong and smart, he wasn't a god. And that's getting back to the point of where they're throwing away the Infinity Stones, basically throwing away Thanos. Like, look, that's nothing compared to what's coming. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought of this episode. It was great. I can't wait to see more. I think they just did an excellent job with setting up what this show is going to be about. And the fact that, it was heartbreaking. Loki witnessing the death of his mother and realizing that it's because of what he does, because of his actions that cause her to die. But then he lives all these moments that have yet to happen from when he gets pulled out of time and all the way up to his death. And he's kind of taken aback by the whole thing, and he tries to process it. The fact that they leave us on a cliffhanger with this in a regard of like, so we need your help tracking somebody down, a variant that is on the loose, basically causing a whole bunch of ruckus everywhere. And he's like, oh, well, who am I helping you chase down or something like that? Or why do you think I'll be able to help? And they're like, because it's you. So I'm interested to find out how this other Loki came in. And I think that's how we're going to get, what is it, Lady Loki or Madam Loki or whatever the heck her name is. The woman version of Loki, I think, is going to be that variant that they're going to be chasing. At least that's my belief. I know a lot of people, because they showed a stained glass window of a devil, everyone's like, oh, it's Mephisto. No, it's not Mephisto. They've already came out and said, no, it's not Mephisto. So yeah, get that out of your mind. What's going on, Andrew? So MCU events we've seen is always supposed to happen. So the Avengers were supposed to do the time heist. Yeah, they actually say that specifically, that, the people that Loki's like, look, the people that you should be going after are the Avengers, because he could smell the cologne of two Tonys in 2012. So he knew that there was another Tony Stark from the future who came back and was doing everything. So he even says that, and they're like, no, or they say, no, that was supposed to happen. That was part of the plan. The Avengers were to do that. So yes, everything that happened in the Avengers, as you said here, Andrew, the events that we've seen in the MCU were supposed to happen. They were planned. They were allowed to happen by the TVA. That's what they wanted to have happen. And it's cool to think like that. It's cool to, you always, it's one of those things. Is there a higher power that leads you everywhere? And in a way, that's kind of what they're saying here, that there is no free will in the MCU. Andrew, I guess I see what you're saying here, that there's no free will, but take a look at what Loki did. He had free will. There's still the free will and the possibility that they will create a time variant. It can't happen as it did with Loki here. Again, I just kind of talked about Loki seeing his future and his death. I think that is what's going to kind of put him on the track of being the Loki that we saw in Infinity War, because he was a vastly different character than he was in Thor and the Avengers and Thor 2 and everything like that. He was a very different character than he was by the time he died. And I think him seeing his death is going to get him back on track to becoming that Loki that his brother and like the two of them started to really bond even more. Now, granted, Loki was still the mischievous, god, and he would pull tricks and pranks and always try to benefit and look out for himself. But by the end, by the time he died, it was more than just himself. I mean, and that's very much shown in the fact that he tried to kill Thanos to save the galaxy, because he knew if Thanos got all those Infinity Stones, it was over. And that's why he tried to kill Thanos. So you can see his character development over this time. And I think that him seeing everything is going to do that. Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston work well together. 100% agree. Couldn't agree more. Will this show introduce Kang the Conqueror? I don't know. I don't know where Kang could fit in here. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. I know that Kang is going to be showing up in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, or Into the Quantumania, whatever it's called. He's supposed to be showing up in that. How, again, I'm not sure. I'm not very versed on Kang the Conqueror, so I can't help you out too much there. But definitely, if anybody who does watch or is watching, throw down in the comments what your thoughts are on Kang the Conqueror showing up. Because again, I'd like to know. Maybe it is possible. I just think it's going to be the female version of Loki that is going to be the big bad. Yes, Loki was the reason his mom died. Yeah, and again, remember, Thor kind of believes it's his fault. So are we going to see a moment, a scene, or something in this show or later on where that's rectified between the two of them? I don't know. It'll be interesting. But that is my Loki review, guys. So again, let me know in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Let me know everything. It was such a great episode. I loved the episode so much. The show explained one more thing. The show explains the multiverse really good. I agree. I think they did a really good job in explaining the multiverse to a point. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more intricacies that they're probably going to explain over the course of this series, but it's cool to see how they're explaining it and simplify it for people to understand pretty easily. So I can't wait to see more. Episode 2 every Wednesday. Loki is on Wednesdays, which is pretty cool. It's a nice, get to the middle of the week and you get something to chew on and really watch. So I'm excited to see what comes after. What's going on, guys? Did you enjoy this video? If you did, make sure you smash that like button. And for more, hit subscribe with that little notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time a new episode drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.